Thank you so much for joining Take the Lead podcast. We are so grateful. We truly appreciate you. We have Black women in tech in the building. Ladies, can you please introduce yourself to the audience and let us know what do you guys have up and coming and how we can support you?
I will start first. My name is Regina Gwen. I'm one of the co founders of Black Women Talk Tech. We are a collective of Black women tech entrepreneurs focused on building billion-dollar businesses. So we have been tech founders ourselves. Associate and I launched our tech startups back in 2013, 2014. Found that it was really hard navigating this ecosystem, and being a non-technical founder myself, I had no idea what I was doing. Did not know what a technical stack was. What are different coding languages? What is a cap table? What are the different ways of funding your business? All of it was foreign. And so we decided to create Black Women Talk Tech to provide an access to education, as well as amplifying the stories of women who were doing it. We were not alone in navigating and going along this journey towards entrepreneurship. But there were a lot of nuances that exist when you're a woman and a woman of color and in the landscape of technology. So we launched Black Women Talk Tech in 2017. We have our conference coming up August 12th and 13th, Roadmap to Billions. It is our fifth annual conference. So we're celebrating our fifth anniversary, really bringing that roadmap, that blueprint of how to move the needle on growing and scaling your business and growing your startup. So we're super excited. We're more than happy to tell you all about it, but I will let Asosa introduce herself and tell you a little bit more.
Yes. And so my name is Esosa Igadara. I'm one of the co-founders as well. I run mostly marketing and branding. And one of the greatest things we're so proud of is that we've done this for 5 years, celebrating making sure that we meet the goal of allowing the next billion-dollar tech company to be a Black woman. And what does that really mean? That means we really want to sort out making Black women independently wealthy through entrepreneurship. And so we're really excited about being able to tell the stories on August 12th and 13th, being able to come back together again, although virtually, which is a new experience that is going to be game changing, y'all. We have really invested a lot of time, effort, energy, and space for you to really have a unique experience. So we're really excited to present that to you on August 12th and 13th, and looking forward to sharing more.
That's incredible, ladies. I'm so interested in what inspired you to get involved into the tech industry.
The money. Like, want to know what it is? No. No, I mean, I think that, Asosa really hit the nail on the head. We are here to create more paths to generational wealth for our communities. We recognize that the tech industry has seen rocket ship, like, ridiculous growth in like 2 years, let alone the past maybe 20 to 25, since the kind of the advent of the internet, right? So, this opportunity to not just create $100,000 business or a $50 million business, but $1 billion business is enabled through technology. And I think that we really want to be able to hone in on that. And that, like I mentioned before, the nuances in starting a tech business is very different from, a kind of what's considered a lifestyle business, a mom and pop shop, a daycare, a laundromat, a dry cleaner. These are very different kinds of businesses. And so the resources, the R&D and the infrastructure that's needed is very different. And so for me, it was about understanding that there was this huge hole in the market that affects hundreds of millions of women, in terms of how they think about their beauty routines and how they get access to beauty services. And that was the impetus behind creating my tech startup, which was an on-demand, on-location beauty booking app. So when we think about the ability to access hundreds of millions of people all at once, being able to schedule and connect and deliver services and have those services be consistent. Those were the kinds of things that I knew that technology could solve and could address. And so we want to be able to replicate that. How do we disrupt? You hear that word all the time in the tech industry. How are we disrupting the way in which we do our hair? How are we disrupting the way in which we transport ourselves from point A to point B through Uber? How are we reimagining and disrupting food service? There's so many things that can be changed and therefore monetized and therefore the money.
Yes, it's that entrepreneurial spirit and figuring out how do I make things cheaper, faster, more efficient, and with the use of technology that allows us to make it scale much faster than any other industry. So, like when we talk about wealth and the speed to wealth, we've seen that happen in technology way quicker than anything else. Like if you could think of a GE or one of these older companies, it took them 40, 30 years before they, can say they were $1 billion. They've like actually can say, hey, they're $1 billion company and their recurring revenues are valued at that, right? It took Uber 7. So it's literally you could get a doctorate and $1 billion company in the same time. It's like there's just the massive amount of speed to wealth that's being created, and in technology, we want that piece of the pie to also come to Black women, Black men, the community at large, and we're big advocates of Black women being invested in, because once you invest in a Black woman, we believe you invest in that community, and once you commit to that community, it's everlasting, growing that quality of life, and that's the whole point at the end of the day. But like Regina, I mean, she said it's all about the money. I think also for me, it's definitely a big driver. But I also think I think this is allure of the opportunity at hand that you get to choose for yourself. I started in banking and transitioned. Both of myself and Regina are non-technical founders and had to navigate that, creating a technology company. How do you do that and you don't speak code? Or how do you do that and figuring out how do you solve your problem? So for Regina, it was the hair industry. For me, it was retail tech. And I was trying to figure out how to use image recognition to identify products and services through video and images. And that would help, essentially build this really meaty algorithm that allows you to, see right now what lipstick from who and what, shirt I'm wearing from what designer and all that jazz really quickly within the social media and other forms of content. And so it's been very, very interesting of a journey, because lots of people in my family, I don't know, nobody knows know anything about tech. So it was really hard to find a community to, actually talk about these things. It's one thing to talk about technology and be an enthusiast about it, or even know what it is, or like play the games on like Temple Run, or, I'm dating myself. I don't play games anymore on the App Store, but whatever people are playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, on that Roblox. Gotta get up on
Listen,
that Roblox, honey.
listen, there's just so
crazy.
many. And so we want to, better assess that through a community, and allowing us to do that through Black Women Talk Tech has enabled us in so many ways. We've grown so much from the very beginning to now, and being more than just a conference. So it's been amazing.
That is so incredible. I love how you said if we invest into the Black woman, we really invest into the community, the nation. And unfortunately, I feel like as Black people, we are consumers in the internet and the tech industry. We're not realizing all the opportunity there is in there. Can you guys go deeper in what all the opportunity it entails in Black women in tech?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so one of the things I would say is like, you're absolutely right. The Black community over indexes on tech platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Once it appears, we all over it, right?
Right.
And so it's important that, we also get on that other side of like not only building the innovation and leading the trend around what will the world look like in 5 to 10 years based on the solutions I'm building that you don't know you need yet, or problems I'm seeing in the market that can support things that you need to do today. Right. And so I think those are the things we've been working at. Black Women Talk Tech as an organization has been really focused on elevating some of those stories because we realized early on, based on our origin story of Regina and I just meeting on random tech event on the launch line and figuring out, wow, there's another Black woman working on a tech company. Amazing. How did that happen? I haven't seen too many. I read about maybe one or two, and just like putting it out there and saying, hey, we're gonna have an event around, building and skilling your company, just one day event. If you're interested and Black women who are have ideas are doing it, please let them know and have them join us in a week. And we were expecting maybe 10, 15 people. We got over 300 people trying to join us. Yeah. They're out here, right? We're out here building innovation across so many different industries. So Black Woman Talk Tech has really dedicated to, making sure we have the content, the connections, and capital to support the growth and scale of those businesses. And so, what that looks like is across different industries from health tech, fintech, consumer tech to literally the gamut of B2B marketplaces, ad tech. I mean, you name it, because technology literally touches all business. And we could probably argue that technology is a part of every business. Like, it's not, you are a tech business at large. You just sometimes may not figure out how to make it scalable. And some of that conversation we're trying to help with our community to help them understand what does scale really mean, and how do you make the idea that you have scalable, and what that massively means for you return to your pocket, your community, and your family, and how we can help support the connections you need around the way to like really do this in the long run. So get the investment of the first check-in of 50 to 200K to start your idea, or getting the next levels of investment of the 10 to 20 and 50 or whatever, a million, if you decide, or even doing it bootstrap and seeing what that navigation system looks like.
That's it's like my mind is blown. It's like, where do you want to go with this? You can really take it there. It's all up to you.
Exactly that. You know what's also an interesting, and I'll say, I'll let you get to your next question. But there's also an interesting thing because we have, 25% of all Black business is actually in beauty. So Regina is a very good prime example of finding and identifying problems that we're solving just for our own communities that aren't being solved, right? And we're creating solutions. So that might be a product, might be a hair oil, it might be some type of product. But the great part about it is that 2/3 of the world is brown. Let's put it out there. So that's a lot of people you can go ahead and sell to, and that's billions of people who could potentially need what you're selling, right? And one of the best things that we're excited about of the conference, and I'll just put it out there, is that Estee Lauder is supporting this year's $50,000 pitch and prizes competition. And we want to really put it out there that if you are a business owner in health and hair care, cosmetics, retail tech, consumer tech, and fintech, we want to hear from you because Estee Lauder is interested, right? And we want to make sure you get the money, the support, and the special interests of other groups that will be beaming on your business as a result of you being able to apply. So I just want to put that out there before we forget, get too carried away on this interview and not say, the money's coming to y'all too. It's making sure that you can build and create from there. And so it's a lot of great opportunities that you get to participate in the Roadmap to Billions Conference, this 5th year anniversary. And we're so excited to be able to do this in a unique way and allow people to really get, liquidated quickly. You know what I mean? There's like opportunities and options and conversations around like really interested in you being a part of a larger family, or even being, potentially having the opportunity to get not only investment, but like, selling a majority stake, or even, there's so many things that can happen when having a great strategic partner. And so I think it's just a great opportunity for us to share out with the world and let the world know as you talk out with people. And I just want to name that.
That is incredible. And that's what we need. We need support, especially as a Black woman. We need that support. What does sisterhood mean to you?
Wow. I mean, sisterhood is such a beautiful word when done in like that true spirit of togetherness and support and affirmation and visibility. I have an older sister. I'm a part of a sorority, so I understand sisterhood in lots of different ways. And I do think that Black Women Talk Tech creates a sisterhood of like-minded women. The entrepreneurial journey is hard, period. Whether it's in tech, whether it's in beauty, whether it's in fashion, whether it's in, I don't even know, books. Like, it's hard, period. And so, and it can be a very lonely road. No one else is creating this technology. Otherwise it exists already. And so it can be very tough. You're not in a work environment, you're not in an office with all these other people, and you're coming up with a lot of ideas on your own, or in a very small team. So being able to come into an environment that's a safe space, we really do underscore the importance of creating the environment that we want, the environment that we wished we would have had when we first started our companies, so that you feel vulnerable, you feel safe enough to be vulnerable and ask the questions that you need to ask. Because you don't want someone to look at you and be like, what, you haven't figured that out yet, or you're not half as advanced as I am, or whatever. That's not the vibe that we create at our conferences. And because we've been there, we've been in those places where it is that vibe. And so when we think about sisterhood, we also think about power. Right. So the idea of, being able to access our own power. We are the arbiters of culture. And we have to lean into that. We have to lean into it from an ownership perspective as opposed to consumption. So again, Sosa and we've continued to have this conversation about how much we consume, right? Like, we consume media, we consume technology devices, we consume platforms. We don't own these platforms. We don't innovate around these platforms. We don't monetize these platforms. So sisterhood is also power, in order for us to connect those kinds of dots, and be able to create, companies and organizations that can actually really leverage that, and get the bag that we deserve.
Get the bag. You straight to the point with it. You like, we came here to get the bag.
Listen. Life is short. We're in a pandemic.
Listen,
we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta do what we gotta do.
Listen.
And Black women's been out here saving lives for generations.
Let's talk about it.
We've been sitting here saving elections, saving people, saving worlds, countries, economies. We done saved children, adults, seniors, like everybody. So it is time to also invest in ourselves. It's time to pour into ourselves. It's time to prioritize self-care. It is time for us to get everything we deserve. Everything. Anyone asks me why I'm doing this, because I deserve it. That's why.
Period.
The end.
Like it ain't nothing else to say.
The end.
Done. Food stop.
That is
Amazing.
incredible. That is incredible, because as Black women, if we would just realize the value that we have, how you just named how we be saving the world just so elegantly by multitasking at the same time, just making it look easy.
Right.
Yes.
And looking good, flawless in the interim. Like, why not? Because
it's just
sometimes we make it look too easy. Sometimes we make it look too easy.
I
Right?
listen, and then they start piling more problems to me. Don't give me your problems. Give me your solutions. Okay, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
And that's when
But-
other people think they can do it, because we just make it so gracefully and effortlessly at that. And I just so thankful that we are all just Black women, you know, here that are uplifting the culture day by day. I would love to know, how did you guys overcome challenges being a Black woman in tech?
You know, I mean, it's a day-to-day, you know, kind of process. You take one step forward and 3 steps back. But I think that, you know, we unfortunately aren't used to it, right? Like, if it wasn't this environment, it would be another. You know, we both, Sosa and I both come from corporate America. So, you know, we grew up in environments, or our careers, our professional careers, have always been in environments that were intense. You know, they were very fast paced, and you had to be a top performer to you know, work twice as hard for just the minimum. So, you know, I think we are, and I guess I'll speak for myself, very, very blessed to have had amazing parents and network and tribe that have encouraged and affirmed and supported me along the way, such that when problems do arise, it's not new. You know, it's hard, but it's not new. And we have the skill set, we've got the toolkit available to us to navigate those situations. And we also have the social capital, right? So we have the ability to leverage other networks, tap into mentors, sponsors, you know, the all of those people that can help us work it through together. You know, it's not a matter of expecting to solve every problem on your own. We cannot do this alone. We cannot do this work alone. We cannot do this journey alone. And we have to have the allies and the partners and the support to make it happen.
I would agree with those same sentiments. It's definitely tough navigating the tech ecosystem, especially when you're not from that ecosystem. There's like a lot of nuances and unwritten rules, right, that you have to kind of discover along the way. Technology as an industry has been a very you know, kind of culture shock for me and many people who come from a corporate perspective, because corporate is generally, by and large, very formal, and technology, by and large, very informal. And so, you know, coming to work in a suit and tie, or coming in a suit and tie, but in a tech environment, it's like you really are gonna stand out, because it's a t-shirt and jeans and what have you. Very casual, very different in terms of how you build relationship, very different in terms of like just understanding the pure scale and how you build and create innovation. It's a unique world, and very exciting. I mean, this is exciting stuff. You start to see things that, you know, don't hit the wider world until 5 years from now. So you're like literally inventing the future today, and those are some powerful opportunities to do that, right? And cohorse. And the best part, I think, about being a Black woman in technology is that you stand out, honey. You are not going to be a one of many, like some of our other counterparts. You will be noticed. It's now just the job of getting the equal opportunity, making sure that you got a sense of what you're doing, and how to build those networks and how to really make sure you get the capital you need, to getting the navigating of, how to manage your tech team. If you're doing a software, I mean, there's software tech companies and there's hardware tech companies, right? I mean, the gamut is wide in terms of what you need to navigate either one. But I think by far the funniest thing for me in terms of a jarring experience, not only just the overall environment and ecosystem being different from my background in banking, was my thought process too in banking is that we know everything and we're very confident. And the hard part too was that I thought the easy part was raising money. So I came into it like, yeah, I could raise this, $2-3 million, no problem. I know tons of people at the bank that have money. It's just apparently they have other ideas of what they want to do with their money, and that gives me. So that is also some of those things you also run into, like who kind of who writes checks for these types of deals, right? Because it's a very high risk environment, and not everyone has a stomach or the appetite for that. And so knowing where to go, knowing how to present yourself as a business to actual venture capitalists or VC or angels, people who traditionally invest in these high tech, high growth opportunities or product based companies that are really have an opportunity to distribute at large scale. And so some of that um, had a lot to do with learning. And I think having this, community of Black women talk tech and being able to have an opportunity to ask questions, have an opportunity to find people who are also raising and having success or challenges and learning from both. And I think those are the two things I found really interesting, kind of navigating the tech ecosystem. Luckily for me, I was able to raise a good amount of money, and I was lucky enough to be able to raise 1.4 million for my last startup. But it was really difficult to do so because that took a very long time. What people would kind of consider it almost bootstrapping, which is very, very different from a perspective of like understanding that ecosystem of technology. But there's just so much. Just even managing yourself and time management was a whole thing. You went from working from someone 9 to 5, and now you got all this time, and you got to manage to getting goals and deliverables, and you set the goals and deliverables and the milestones, and you manage that piece. So the structure isn't given to you. You create that. Like there's so many nuances when running and scaling a business.
Wow, you are in the driver's seat in your own life. You're gonna steer different. Oh my goodness, ladies. This was so powerful. I want to thank you so much for the energy. Thank you so much for reinventing the wheel, recreating, and putting us in a position to win. How can we support and how can we actually tune into the virtual conference event?
www.blackwomentalktech.com. Start there, click on get tickets, grab a ticket. I'm sure we have a code, I think, for your audience. So
Yeah.
grab a code for that. So, do you have it?
Yeah, I can tell you. It's RTB25 for 25% off. So
Yes.
go ahead and go to the website, blackwomentalktech.com, register for your tickets, put RTB25 in the coupon code section and get 25% off just right here because you're an audience member, okay? And we continue also to sign up for our newsletter. We have tons of information there as well that we share with our audience every 2 weeks. So stay tuned there from different accelerator programs that help you scale your business to information and content to investor matchmaking programs that we also host as an organization. So it's a lot of things that we do that you'll be able to keep abreast on. And then follow us on all our social channel. Keep the conversation going. Talk to us. We need to hear from you. So Black Women Talk Tech on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're BW Talk Tech on Twitter. So if you're a Twitter person, go ahead and join us there, have the conversation. And we look forward to, just continuously building and making you incredibly wealthy.
Come on, we breaking generational curses this way.
Listen.
Gotta do it. We gotta do it. We gotta do it for us. If no one else is gonna do it, we gotta do it.
Yes.
So let us go do it.
Regina, can you leave us off with how just important reinventing the wheel is?
Listen, we have seen. Let me just. I want to just do a quick double click on the idea of Black entrepreneurship is not new, right? So we just came off of the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa massacre, right? And Tulsa, Oklahoma was a huge bastion of Black wealth and Black entrepreneurship. There were airports. They had their own airport, okay? Had multiple doctors' offices, dentists, schools, laundromat, manufacturing. Like it was a straight Black excellence mecca. Okay. So this is not new. The idea of Black excellence, Black entrepreneurship, Black advancement, Black wealth, recreating the wheel. Yes, we are advancing the wheel. We are expanding the wheel. We are evolving the wheel, but it has been made. It has been created and innovated, and we stand on their shoulders. We stand on the shoulders of Black excellence that has existed for generations, and we're advancing that effort. But I want to make sure that we acknowledge the ideas and the innovations that never were acknowledged, right? We have inventors and innovators, even within technology, that have never actually received their due. And so we are here to amplify stories. We're here to say that Black women can talk about things other than diversity and inclusion, right? We can talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning and SaaS platforms. We can talk about fintech, education tech, disrupting healthcare. And so that is in fact what we are here to do. We do it well, but we will continue to do it. And savvy investors would be wise to get in on the ground level in order for everyone to grow and to reach the economic wealth and freedom that I know that we can do as a community.
Awesome. That was so powerful. Thank you, ladies. And thank you, Take the Lead podcast listeners, for tuning in, tapping in. And we will meet you guys at the top.